Hey everyone, Chris Sawyer here. The Varietal Show is back. I am right now at Jessies Grove in Lodi, California. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that Creedence Clearwater song about Lodi, but it's real.
Stuck in Lodi.
I am here with my great friend Greg Burns, whose family owns this property, and with Tana Cole, Tana Cole, sorry, Tana, not Tara. Go figure. Tana and Tara, they're kind of similar, you guys. But she's a great winemaker here, and you know, it's a really nice day, kind of springtime. The buds are kind of starting to spring up here in the vineyards. This is a really legendary vineyard, and one of the things that is part of this vineyard is an old planting of the oldest Cinsault in the world. I said it, the world.
Yes.
So we're going to taste a little bit of Cinsault first, and then we're going to dive into some of the other things that make Lodi so great, which is called Old Vine Zinfandel, Alicante, Bouschet, Carignane, some of those things that are here. If you do hear some beating in the background, they are actually constructing the new tasting room. This is the great barn behind us. And if you hear the chipping over there, we are not in Fargo. We are in Lodi, okay? I just want to make that clear. Okay.
Ex-winemakers from Jessies Grove.
Yes. Those are not the ex-winemakers over there. Promise. So, Cinsault, a great grape from France. If you went to a grocery store in France, you would find it probably just in the grape section of the produce. And it's also very well known in the old world, and also probably best known in South Africa. Very old vines there. And there is a vineyard here called the Bechhold Vineyard, which is part of this property that is very famous. The best Cinsault in the United States comes from this vineyard. And how old is this vineyard, Greg?
It was planted in 1886.
Planted in 1886, you guys.
Yes.
This is math for great people, and believe it or not,
30 plus, I believe.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oldest Cinsault vines in the world. This is our version of a rosé version of it, and this is from the Lodi AVA, where we're at, Jessies Grove. Very new. This is the new 2022 vintage of it.
This is our first attempt at a rosé.
This is your first one, and there have been a few other people that have made rosés from this vineyard. And the interesting thing, how long would you say the vineyard rows are? Because they are among the biggest, longest vineyard rows I've ever seen in my life.
The biggest vines you've ever seen.
I'd say they're approaching between an eighth to a quarter mile long. They're very long.
Yeah, about an eighth to a quarter mile long, these vineyard rows.
Yes.
So
they're fantastic.
they are very, very big. They are very, very old. And the interesting thing is when you drive there and you look at them, they have names of wineries on them because each row is taken by certain wineries.
Yes, they
You
are.
get the best fruit. They do.
Well,
it's their fruit. Well, kind of.
We tried.
Yeah, it's
They
kind of.
moved the sign.
Okay, they move the signs when need be. But you know, this is just a great version of a rosé. So let's taste this real quick.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Salute.
Cheers to you guys. Thanks for hosting me, and thanks for hosting these great guests. I love that wild strawberry. And another thing about this that comes right out to me is something that really connects Lodi to the rest of the world. And that is, I get a watermelon rind flavor here. Now, at one point, this area was known as the watermelon capital of the world.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Obviously, it wasn't growing in this part of the vineyard because this was planted back in the 1880s. But there have been some times when I've come to vineyards here in the Lodi area, and actually, you actually look down and it looks like a weed, and it's not. It's a little sprouting watermelon that was the little seed was there. It's been dormant for 30 years, and here it is. Ba-boom. So welcome back. Hello. So really nice dry style here. Lovely start to finish. Good acidity, brightness, freshness. We like good rosés like this, don't we?
Thank you.
Absolutely.
We like to say it's Provence style, if you think so.
Very Provence in style, indeed.
Yes. We did 4 rosés this year, and this, by far, I think, emulates the best of what we did. We did four rosés this year, and this, I think, both in color, balance, texture, historical aspects. I think this represents probably the best attempt at what we believe a rosé can be.
Yep, it's kind of my favorite one that we made this year.
And then we're going to taste this amazing pup here. And this is the great Cinsault. So you can't see it that well, but on the back it actually says the age of the vines is planted in 1886. Jessies Grove right here. And look, there's the barn right on the cover. It's right there. So here we are with, this is the dry style of the red part of it. So remember, one thing about rosé wines is all they do is a little bit of skin contact makes them pink. Usually they're just white in the interior, except for one that we're going to show you in a few minutes, which is called Alicante Bouschet, which is dark. The pulpy, juicy part is red.
Yes.
Usually, most 99% of the other grape varieties that we use, they are actually completely clear until you put them with the skins, and that's how they become red. And this is how long did this take to make it this pink?
Not long.
Not long.
Not long.
This is what we'd call like salmon pink. I don't know if you can see it there, you guys, but it's kind of a salmon pink hue.
Yes.
I love it. And this is not salmon pink.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yep, you can
There you
really
go.
see the color.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Obviously, this is not pink, you guys. This is actually red,
Yes.
and it's quite good too. I just like how round and just flavorful this wine is. You know, it's fresh. This is what I really do want to be drinking. You know, tonight, Greg, you and I are going to have some food tonight. But you know what? If I was going to start with a red, this would be the red I would start with.
We're bringing it. Tana's going to be there as well.
Okay.
We're going to bring some of this.
All right. I'm not going to say no.
No twisting in the
Good.
pinky.
I know, no twisting this guy's pinky. You know how much I love this grape.
Yes.
So at some point, you guys, we'll do another show where we go out to the vineyard because you got to see those old gnarly vines. But you know, today it's just a little bit hot out there, so we wanted to kind of keep it chill. And these wines are tasting great. But this has a nice bouquet to it. It has a really nice texture. It's round. People that like Pinot Noir will really like this.
Yes.
But this is actually a traditional kind of grape from France, and we just don't have much of it in California. And we're very lucky that we have the Bechhold Vineyard, which I've been there. I mean, it's probably 12, 15 years ago that I went to the Bechhold Vineyard the first time, and it was a long time ago. But you know what? I think about that all the time. Every time I hear the word Cinsault, oh, Bechhold Vineyard. Ooh. And a lot of winemakers out there stand in line for these grapes. And here we are tasting two versions with the owner of the site and the great winemaker that made these two wines.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Here's to us. Here's to you guys for being with us.
Cheers.
And
Can I ask you a quick question about this?
Absolutely.
So, what do you think about serving this a little bit chilled?
Okay, that is a great question. What do I think about serving this Cinsault, the red version, a little bit chilled? I would put this right up there with some of those wines that I really like, the old Gammets and things like that, that really are the kinds of things that I think about for lunchtime.
Yep.
You know, I want a roast beef sandwich, but you know, I really don't want a big Cabernet or a Zinfandel with lunch. But this kind and serving it a little bit chilled, I think that's exactly what they do in France, and I think that's exactly what we should be doing more of here, especially with this Cinsault. So, perfect example. Thank you guys for bringing that. Woo. Here we go. Hey, the wind is kicking in. Don't believe that this place is always hot, you guys.
Call that the Carquinez Straits from San Francisco.
So we're going to dump out these glasses, and we're going to go into a couple new ones, too. Greg, scoot this way just a teeny bit more.
All right.
So this is Carignane, or Carignane, depends on who's saying it. Yeah. This is a really great grape. And once again, we're talking about an old world style of grape that is fantastic when it's done by itself.
Take that one away from you too.
And one that I really, actually, pull those back so we can pour the other one too. Sure. But one of the great tastings I did recently was from the wines of the Priorat. The Priorat is this part of Spain that is completely due. It's completely due east of Barcelona, and it was lost for a long time. But what they found there is old vine Grenache, but also old vine Carignan. And it is a very fascinating area, especially when you mix those two together. And now they've brought in a lot of newer plantings of Syrah, Cabernet, Merlot, things like that. So Carignan is old school. It used to put out a lot of fruit. It was flavorful, but it also put out a lot of fruit. And it is actually a collection of these old vines are here, right here on this property. Another place I would look at is Redwood Valley up in Mendocino County, and some of these little areas that are where they've been saved. And you know, you look at great wineries like Ridge that actually does a Carignan by itself, and it's kind of come back in style. So I think that really educating you guys about, you know, these kinds of varieties that you don't see every day, but when you get the chance to taste them, you're like, oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, I know. I've been telling you guys. So we're going to taste the Carignan, but we're also going to pour this little Jessies Grove. This is the Fancy Quest, and this is Zinfandel. Yeah, Lodi. Anyone ever had a Lodi Zinfandel? I think so. And Jessies Grove, this is how I got to know them originally, and how Greg and I became friends is when they used to send me all the old samples at WineX magazine back in the late 90s. And this is a really special piece of property. Tell us a little bit about the family's origin here and just how far back it goes.
Oh, sure, absolutely. We've been here since 1868.
1868. Did you hear that, you guys?
Not 1968.
1868.
We've been on this property since 1868. As Chris talked about earlier, we started with wheat, and then we became the capital of the world for wheat, and then watermelons, and then eventually to grapes. The Carignane grape was planted on our property in 1900.
Okay.
The Fancy Quest was planted in 1953 or 4.
Okay.
And so from Carignane to the Zinfandel.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's why the name Fancy Quest is it's named after one of the horses from the ranch that we used to ride. That was one of the horses. There's the West Wind, the Fancy Quest, and the Royalty. 3 different horses from this ranch.
Yeah, I've had the Royalty many times.
Yes, you have.
The Royalty is actually one of my favorite wines from you.
But
I you know,
yeah,
it's
that's
like,
good to know.
Yeah, so I think I might walk away with a little ball.
Yeah.
Just saying. Okay, back to focus here. Carignan, 2019, a very good vintage here. This is from the estate. This is a Carignan. This is a really interesting wine. It has a lot of body. It has a lot of structure. It's bigger than a lot of people think. We just tasted that Cinsault. It's a softer, rounder style. This is not. This has got some body, some texture.
Embodiment of color.
This is what I would want with pork.
Yeah.
You know, like do this on the grill. Give me a pork chop with this. You know, just give me some really good things outside, you know, as we barbecue. Yeah. Give me a nice kind of tangy sauce that you put on that pork. Marinate it. You know, do something for me, okay?
We always think Thanksgiving, too. With this
Thanksgiving,
one.
exactly.
Yep. Cranberry sauce.
Carignan, because you care, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I got to coin that one.
But the age of these vines, the age of these vines emulate the possibilities of what this can become, and that is. It's 122 years old, going on 100, 123. It gets better and better and better.
Yep.
The vines are massive. They look like the mini sequoias of the forest.
Yeah.
And the concentration of the flavors is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
The older they get. Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So
and Tana, just like Zinfandel. I mean, it's the grape of Lodi. We know that. It's like here. One of the reasons it's so popular here and why it could live so long here. A lot of these are not the only vines that are planted. These are in the 50s, but there's a lot of examples here, even on this property. They're planted way before that. Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, it's the perfect amount of weather. There's no blocking the suns here, except for under a tree like this.
Yes.
But it's a special kind of soil too, isn't it?
It is. Yep.
Tell us a little bit about the soils here.
So one thing that I always think about on the west side of Lodi, the soil that we have here has a quality that is very earthy and different. It's almost mushroomy in a different kind of way. So it's savory.
Savory.
Instead of so jammy. Like on the other side of Lodi, I think their Zins are more jammy.
They are jammy. That's a really good point. And we are really looking at the kind of the western side of Lodi. as we get closer to, like, the Sierras are that way from here, and so that's west, and that's east, where we're going this evening.
Yes,
To Calaveras, yeah.
All three of us.
Yep, to judge the wine competition up there. But you know, you get the wind first.
Yes.
Yep.
You get a lot of the sun in the afternoon,
Yes,
so
we do.
too. It's
Yep.
very bright here.
Yeah.
You know, you see the sunset like no one else on that side.
Yep, we
you know,
definitely do.
and I think that's a really special thing. The soils here too are very sandy, very interesting,
Yep.
loamy, sandy, and that means that they're not really that dry, and that the water it's good. Its impact is there,
Yes.
but it also goes through pretty fast. It doesn't get
Yes.
soppy out there,
Nope.
and that could be really bad.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
water through a colander. That's
Yes,
a
it
very
does.
good way of putting
Yes,
it.
the sandy loams are, and you know, farming it for the intensity that we want is just the balance to keep the vines maturing,
Right.
but to get the concentration of
Yeah.
colors, tannins, textures. You know, the fancy quest. All of this is on
Yeah.
that beautiful sandy loam.
Yeah.
This mostly fallout from flooding from
Yeah.
the Sierras.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is a great Zinfandel. You know, it's really full-bodied, full of flavor, bursting with flavor, I would say. You know, there's not only just the wild berry kind of notes to it, but there's almost like a pomegranate thing going on in
Nice.
there. You know, and I think about great
use that.
great salads with pomegranate, like a spinach salad with pomegranate and pine nuts and red onion. And then we'll take one of our great friends who likes to shave a little bit of chocolate on there. You know, what the heck? Shave some chocolate on there.
I
Put in
like
a
that idea.
raspberry
I
sauce.
could taste shaved
Yeah.
chocolate on your.
Yeah, me too.
I can do this. You know, we can all do this. So Zinfandel has a lot of beautiful, you know, things that it does. But you know what I like about it is this is really balanced. This is a very different style than the old days, and I've said this before in the show that the old days back in the 90s and early 2000s, we were tasting porty Zinfandel. He makes a port. They make a port. But this is not a port. This is Zinfandel, you guys. And there's a big difference between that. And I like it. It's kind of light on its feet. It's not, you know, it's not really low alcohol, but it's not like jumping out at you either.
No,
Yep,
it's
yep,
not
yep.
17%.
No, it's not the 17.1% like the old days. Those guys,
Those
what were they
can carry it.
thinking?
You don't need the hammer
Yep.
to the head.
No, you do not need the hammer to the head. But it is beautiful. But even on the nose, you really do get those savory characteristics, and it's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's really wonderful. And I like that comment about the mushrooms too, because
Yes.
I think that this, you know, both of these could be really good if you really do the right kind of pasta with wild mushrooms. And especially when you're talking about, you know, something that's almost like a risotto, you know, with wild mushrooms. And but you do a reduction around it with a little bit of a berry reduction.
Making me
I'm
hungry.
making them hungry, and this is good, you guys. I'm making you hungry too. So it's just a great thing. But I love Zinfandel, and I love this Jessies Grove Zinfandel.
Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Cheers.
Cheers on
Yeah.
this one. All right. Winning! Hashtag winning!
Love
Okay.
it. Thank you.
Yes.
Moving on to our last wine, you guys. This is the Alicante Bouschet. Don't try to spell it just right away, but this is how you spell it. Alicante Bouschet. This is one of the rare grapes of the world that from the Vitis vinifera category. So it doesn't mean that there aren't other grapes of the world, but if you're in the main thoroughfare of the great real grapes that we know the best, and that is, you know, the grapes that we really do cherish the most and grow the most, especially in not only California, but Italy, where the most grapes are grown, France, where the second most grapes are grown, Portugal, where a lot of grapes are grown, and places like that. Alicante Bouschet is one of those Vitis vinifera grapes that actually does come out when you when you take the grape and cut it in half and you squeeze it there, it actually is red juice. So the rest of them, almost 99% of them, are basically not red juice. They are clear juice, and they are dyed with the skins.
Yes.
So this is a different version of that. And what's it like? I mean, like, do your hands get all crazy and like you gotta?
Purple.
How,
Purple.
how long do you have to wash your hands with? It's a good question. It's a valid question.
Stainless steel's silver equipment is definitely red. When we're done with this.
And so are we.
From the get-go.
So are we. I mean, anytime you do a pump over on this
Yes.
this one, you're just pure purple, and you know, from harvest.
Yep.
Yes.
Well,
Purple-
you know,
purple till it's over.
I love it because whenever I taste a good Alicante Bouschet, you know, we really get into it and we taste these wines and we get into it. It's really the smell first, especially with this. And man, it has got a deep, dense smell.
Yep, it's
like
big.
it's this aroma is beautiful. It's got you know, it's like dried flowers. It's like you know, potpourri is basically what it's like, potpourri. You know, and there's like this deep, dense juiciness in there that you smell and you want to investigate really bad.
Good, that's a good thing.
Hence,
Let's
investigate.
with that being said, hello. Yeah.
What do you think?
Look
I
at
love it.
it's good. This is good.
Yeah, it
So-
carries so well.
You know, I like it. I think this would be a great barbecue pairing right now for getting into this kind of a season. I would want a little bit of a slow cook going, though. I mean, you know, like, maybe a full pig this time, wild boar thing. But you know, I think about it too, and this kind of wine going with good stews and like slow cooked meals, and why you cherish each sip is because you worked hard for these things. And I really feel like this is a great example of a wine that really, it's a stately wine. I mean, let's just put it that way. How old are these vines?
They were planted in 1998.
1990.
No, excuse me. No. Wait, I'm so sorry.
Wait, hang on.
2000. Gotta go back in my mind. 2004.
2004. So they're young versus these other ones that we were just talking about. But you know, Alicante Bouschet is. A lot of times it's mainly used as a blender, and it's used for color, go figure, and it's also used to just create more density in flavors, and in many cases that's because Zinfandel likes that, and sometimes it's a real complementary thing to Zinfandel, as is Carignane, Old Vine Mourvedre, you know, Petit Syrah, obviously. I'm not even going to go into the Petit Syrah here because it's too good, and you just have to come to Lodi to taste it from
that's
these guys.
right.
But that's why we're not even going to.
Our Petit Syrah is right over there.
It's right over there. Yeah, where the
I'm
people
looking
from
at
the
I'm
movie
looking at the
Fargo
vines, I
are
can see.
shredding some things
No,
over there.
no.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway.
Only trees.
So, but you know, I just love the fact that when you look at it, you can't really see your fingers through this, and it's dark, it's dense, and it's just delightful.
Thank you. It's rich and thick and chocolate.
Well, so you guys, Jessies Grove, you can find it on the internet. You can see it right here.
Welcome.
Yes.
You are going to see some stuff that's going on over to the side right now that we cannot show you because they're constructing, they're doing a whole new tasting room, reface, everything. I'm very excited about that, to be back here when it's finished.
Yes.
But I thought that it was just good to let you guys know a lot about Lodi in just a few words and a few wines that really, you know, they're great examples of what you do here in Lodi, and especially from families that have been here since
1868.
1868. We're talking more than 150 years, you guys.
Yes.
So we're talking about a long time ago,
Yes.
and we're talking about wines that hold up past the generations. They have outlasted, in some of these cases, outlasted these generations.
Yeah,
And Greg, you are the new man that is in charge of all these little vines out there. They were planted by your forefathers.
Fifth generation.
Fifth generation.
Yeah.
Crazy
Isn't that
stuff.
amazing?
Yes, it is.
It is.
It's
It's
fun.
amazing.
It's a blessing. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
But it's a life pursuit.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And I'll say one thing too. We won't name off all the competitions that Greg and I judge together, but these wines win a lot, you guys.
Yes.
And you know, San Francisco Chronicle and the
Yes.
LA International that you
Yes.
just did down at the fairgrounds down there. They're great competitions with wonderful judges, and you know what? When they pick them to be the top of the tops in these categories, I'm not surprised, especially because when you come out here and you see this landscape and you go like, wow, these farmers are real. And it starts with the grapes first. I mean, like you can't make great wines without great grapes.
That's true.
And these are great grapes here
Yes.
on the Jessies Grove. So
Cheers.
here
you.
to everyone. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
joining us. And Varietal Show will be back next week.
Woohoo.
Cheers! Woohoo! Mhm. Alicante
Bottoms up.
Bouschet.
Cheers. Okay, question for you.